Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to another episode of Digital Caveman Presents Masters of the Universe Tuesday. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman, and today I will be presenting you with the Masters of the Universe Masterverse New Eternia Mattel Creations exclusive Snout Spout. Let's get into it! Let's start things off with a look at the packaging, and here we have on this side, you can see Masters of the Universe New Eternia original designs inspired by classic concepts, Mattel Creations. And then on this side, we have some artwork that spills over to the front side, and I don't know why I started with the back. 6 and up, and then here's some more artwork that come from the side there. Mattel Creations, nice artwork of Snout Spout there. And then it wraps around to this side as well. You can see remnants of some fire and some weapons and the rest of his axe there. And then on the top we have Masterverse. And on the bottom we have small print, fine print, legalese print, made in Vietnam print, Mattel empowering the next generation through play print, contents, one figure and accessories, some symbols I'm not going to learn, the question mark thing, assortment numbers, and a barcode. That, my friends, probably does it for the packaging, but let's open it up and take a look. And here we have Snout Spout, heroic water-blasting firefighter. When the dark forces of Eternia pillage towns, Snout Spout charges into the blazing inferno set by their torches to save the villages from their intruders, be they Skeletor or the evil Horde. Then you open it up and you have an insert here of that nice artwork, and it goes around the sides as well. So very nice. And then on the inside we have Snout Spout all attached in, and then the box of accessories. Snout Spout, heroic water blasting firefighter. And that, my friends, does it for a look at the packaging. Let's take a look at the figure and his accessories. And first up, let's take a look at the accessories. I don't think we'll need handy dandy tweezers, at least for this piece. Nice big firefighter axe with a weight on one end. It's not really all that weighted, but you can tell it's been used. It's got some nicks on it, and got a hole there for, I guess, punching stuff, although it seems like the blade would meet before the hand guard does. Then we have this nice little water spout effect, and it is pretty crystal clear with, I don't know, maybe a slight blue tint to it in some areas. And then you can see it's got a post on the end of it there with a little ring around it to help it hold into position. Now we need the handy dandy tweezers. He does come with an extra set of hands, which are fists on in and out hinges. I do believe they're all new. All molded in the correct color plastic. No paint apps. And nice molded details. There are 2 of them. And everything I said about the first one holds true for the second one as well. Now we get into some assembly. So here we have his backpack, and it's got some nice clear pieces on there with some paint apps on them to show water levels in his backpack. And you can see it's a clear piece on the inside, and then this piece is clipped on the outside of it 2 ports right there to port into his backpack, 2 ports right here for hoses, and a port right here on the top for a hose, and then the clip right here for his axe. And we'll get into all how it goes on him in a minute, but it does require some assembly. And you see the shorter hose, and the ends are the same, and it just ports in here in this single hole. And then there's these other 2 hoses, post on one end and then a hoop on the other end. And on the underside of the backpack, where there are 2 ports, is where these hoses port in. So there's that all assembled. Let's take a look at the figure himself. And he is a little bit taller than your standard Masterverse figure, which he should be, I guess, because he's an elephant, or an elephant man. And I have to say, I mean, it's nice looking, especially this head sculpt. They put a lot of detail into it, I feel like. And it also has a light pip in it, which is a cool little feature. You don't see that often in Masters of the Universe, and it works well. And then several segments for the nose so that it is articulated. Then we've got his belt dial here, and it rotates. And a little bit of a paint amp here on the end of the boots. And then the shoulder pads are separate pieces from the rest of the harness, but they do clip in. And of course the harness clips on him right here in the belt. Also, you can remove all that if you want. You'll notice there's 2 ports right here on the back, and that's where the backpack plugs in, and then that single hose on the top of the backpack plugs into the back of his head. And we'll get to all that in just a minute. Let's take a look at his articulation. As far as his head goes, he can look up that far, so that's really, really good. He can look down that far, and it's on a dumbbell like most of the other Masterverse stuff. And then he's got some chicken neck in there. He's got some waggle. He can do the full exorcist. Now, before we move on from the head, the ears are on hinges, so they do swing forward and back. Forward that far, back that far. The tusks are also separate pieces, and they will rotate a full 360 degrees. Now, the nose is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different segments, and you know, you get pretty good movement out of that. He can, you know, shoot water up on his head if he needs to. And they also, each segment also twists. It's on a hinge, single hinge and swivel each section, so that does add a lot of articulation to this figure. At the shoulder, let's see if I can get him to raise his arm up. Let's see, approximately 90 degrees. And this piece does get in the way a little bit of rotation, but you can see it just kind of flips out the way and gets bent up a little bit. Cut here at the upper bicep for a full 360 degrees of rotation. A single hinge and swivel at the elbow, so a little unusual for Masterverse, but it does swivel 360 degrees, and it does give you slightly less than 90 degrees worth of bend. Then at the wrist, 360 degrees of rotation on an in and out hinge, and in and out hinge on the other side as well. There is a cut where the chest and the abdomen meet, and gives him all kinds of hula. A 360 degree rotation. He can lean left and right. He can lean back that far and then forward that far. There's also a straight cut there at the waist for another 360 degrees worth of rotation. At the hinge, he does have the pull down, or at the hips, he does have the pull down hinge, and he can give you the full splits. He can kick forward slightly less than 90 degrees and back at least a full step. Cut here at the upper thigh for another 360 degrees of rotation. Double hinged pinless knee. And mine, although it wasn't frozen, it is really tight. It gives you that much bend. And at the upper part of the shin, there is a boot cut for another 360 degrees of rotation. At the ankle, tilts down that far, tilts up that far, and it does have forward-facing pin for rocker. Now, as far as the accessories go, again, the backpack, these two ports right here, plug into these, or these two posts, plug into these two ports on his harness, and then this hose falls out, so that's always fun. And you have to straighten this belt up, and you take these posts right here on the belt and these loops or hoops that are on the belt, and it just clips right on there. And again, you know, this does spin 360 degrees. Then on the back of the head, this port right here, and this hose, and it pops right into position. And then now this one does not want to stay. Looks like it's damaged a little bit, maybe. I might have to put a little bit of glue on it. Although I really hate to do that if I don't have to. So he has this port right here. I'm not sure exactly what it is for, but the hoses will port into that as well. And as far as the axe goes, again, he's got this clip right here, and it'll clip in there, or he can hold it in his hand. Either way. The fists, there are no storage for. And as far as the water effect, it will just port into the end of his nose hose. So there we have it, my friends. A look at Snout Spout and his accessories. It's time for my favorite part of a review, comparisons. And here we have the Mattel Creations Masters of the Universe Masterverse New Eternia Snout Spout with the Masters of the Universe Masterverse New Eternia Too Bad. And in the back, the Masters of the Universe Masterverse New Eternia Beast Man. For our final set of comparisons, here we have the Mattel Creations Masters of the Universe Masterverse New Eternia Snout Spout, with, from the Marvel Legends series, making his cameo appearance, Stan the Man Lee from G.I. Joe's Classified series, the Hasbro Pulse exclusive Regal variant Cobra Commander, from Star Wars The Black series, the Archive Edition 501st Legion Clone Trooper, and our final Masterverse comparison, the 40th Anniversary He-Man. For final thoughts on the Mattel Creations Masters of the Universe Masterverse New Eternia Snout Spout, I have to say, I don't know exactly why they chose to do this one as a Mattel Creations it could have just as easily been a deluxe release. But again, I can't really say why they would decide to do it as Mattel Creations rather than just a deluxe version. I'm sure there's some reason. This guy is oversized. He's not more oversized than, say, Beastman or Too Bad or Whiplash, maybe. Maybe a little bit bigger. He's a little bit bigger than Clawful. But, you know, he just as easily could have been a deluxe release. It may have to do with all the parts in the nose. Maybe that's why it's a Mattel Creations rather than a deluxe. But he comes with a lot less accessories than some of the deluxe. So, again, it doesn't make sense to me why he would be Mattel Creations rather than just a deluxe release. That being said, it's a pretty good figure. I do like the fact that it has all those jointed with hinge and swivel pieces in the nose. I would have liked maybe a few more accessories, would have been nice, but you know, the light pip for the eyes, the moving ears, you know, those are great pieces for this figure. And you know, I'll like it. It's slightly updated. It's very classic. And it just fits in with that new Eternia aesthetic that I really, really love. And, you know, mostly the Masterverse line altogether. You know, there's some of the Revelation figures weren't that great. Some of the Revolution figures I passed on simply because I just didn't like the version of the character. If it goes cheap enough, I may get the Skeletech and I may get the Emperor Hordak, but as it sits right now, I'm going to be passing on those two because I don't really overall enjoy the design on those figures. But this one it's great. I don't know if maybe they can use this base body, larger base body somewhere else, but it's nice. I do like the fact that he's bigger because he's an elephant, I guess. And you know, it's about time we got a real deluxe sized figure for the heroic warriors rather than all of them being for the villains. But don't get me wrong, I like my villains. Well, that does it for the review. I hope that you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view that I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. If you're interested in supporting my channel further, I am now offering memberships at various tiers. Click the join button on my YouTube page or check this video's description for the link and see if any membership offers are right for you, but only if you are in a position to do so. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you would like to see more content or just help the channel grow, or both, that's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. That's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.